What is up, guys? Welcome back. I am home from New Brunswick, Canada, from the Complex Union Show Roll Call. Had a great time over the weekend. Really do wish I'd filmed a little bit more of the actual show, but this isn't a show coverage channel. It's not polished, it's not production. But if you're interested in what my weekend consisted of in Canada, go back to the last episode and check that out. I want to give a huge thanks to Colin Cusack and the entire Complex Union crew for inviting us up and just accommodating us far more than was really necessary. So we had a great time there. Really want to try to make it up there next year with the Ludwig's Garage booth and a couple of the cars. I mean, and you guys are going to be along for this ride, but hopefully the Auto Union is done by next year. And taking the Auto Union in the 700 would be awesome. What the killer part is where I'm from in New Hampshire, St. John, New Brunswick, Canada is only about 6.5, almost 7 hours away, which is totally doable for a weekend show. But I am now in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is like 1,500 miles away. So I think what I might try to do is try to set up a few weeks or a couple weeks worth of shows up in the Northeast. That way I'm not hauling 2 cars in the whole booth all the way up to Canada for one show. So we'll see. But I had such a good time. The show has an awesome base under it. This was year 3. So I think for year 4, it'll only be getting better. So I do want to do what I can to try to come back for next year, but also bring Ludwig's Garage with me. So now that I'm back in the shop, we got a few things going on this week. I'm getting caught up on laser work, and that takes up a lot of my time. And that's stuff I don't film here on the channel. So when the laser work gets busy, which is what pays my bills, the YouTube stuff gets real stressful because the week is starting to go by and I don't have stuff to film. And I do my best to at least get an episode up once a week. And I've been doing my best to get 2 up a week. So I'm going to film today because tonight is a get together at my friend Ben and Justin's shop, Fast Tech, here in Chattanooga. Once a month, they've been doing a Euros and Tacos meet where they have a food truck show up and just a car get together at their shop. So that's tonight. The weather has been terrible the last couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months really in a general way. But I really want to take the Corvair out tonight. So maybe by the end of this episode, we're taking this to Fast Tech to hang out for the night. So I'm going to get this started for the first time in probably a month. I haven't driven this in quite a while. But it'll be awesome to get this thing out. I'm really hoping the weather plays ball since, as you can imagine, driving these cars in rain is not the greatest since they don't have wipers. And the window seals aren't the greatest since they sat outside falling apart and dying for decades and decades. What else I'm working on right now is my dust collector for here in the shop when I'm doing buffing and anything else that requires dust collection. I got this from Oneida. It's a US-based company, and the power supply went bad. And every time I'm buffing key rings or anything else, it's getting real dusty here in the shop now since this thing's been down for the count. I did try to repin it, resolder it, the old one in here, and it just wasn't working. So they sent me a new power supply, so shout out to Oneida for that. These are made in America. They don't give them away. This is like a $700 unit. This is the front of it here. But it's been a great unit for how much I use it, which isn't, hours of production every single day. But the little connection piece here, the power distribution block, came up out of the wood circuit board. And I just couldn't get it to get a good connection. And when the thing runs, it creates a little bit of vibration. And it sits like this in the machine. And it wiggles its way out. So I'm installing the new one. Fingers crossed, that's all that needs to be done for this. And I can get back to production on the keyrings that I'm currently cutting on the machine. I'm also kind of scrambling around the shop today, getting things put up on the walls, getting things organized, and kind of just reorganizing the shop in general because my good friend Kyron flies in the day after tomorrow on Saturday to photograph me in the shop for Autostrada magazine. It's quite crazy to me because the magazine highlights people, essentially. It's not like a normal car magazine where the car is being featured. They highlight builders and people and shops. It's really kind of crazy that they wanted to do anything with me in this shop. And I didn't know this when I made the new Ludwig's Garage sign. So I'm kind of glad I've been slowly working on the shop because Kyron's going to be here for the weekend. All right, the new unit is in, plugged in, and actually it's crazy how much play these things have. And that's the connection in this one that went bad, and I actually like siliconed it down. This is actually tighter than the new one, but it wasn't working intermittently, so hopefully this was the issue. Gonna plug it in now before I put it all back together just to make sure it works, but yeah, everything's hooked up. All right, dust collector works well. Just went through about 200 key rings on that thing, and it kept running no problem. So first part of the day is a success. Now we're back in action on that. Let's get in action on the Corvair. We'll pull this thing out, and we'll hose her down. All right. All right, so here we go. Well, boys, looks like we've got some maintenance to do on the Corvair. Man, it's always leaked some oil. Every Corvair leaks oil. I mean, they leaked oil before they got out of the plant when they were brand new. And if a Corvair isn't leaking oil, it doesn't have any in it. So it's always dribbled a little bit. And I've been through all the seals and gaskets on that motor without taking the motor out. So I think there's going to be some Corvair content coming up because I ought to get that thing on the lift and really go through that and reseal that motor up. All right, so when I took it for the drive, it was clear that the exhaust was loose or that there was a leak somewhere. Got that backfire on D-cell. That's like the dead giveaway that there's an exhaust leak. And I've had an issue with the exhaust logs, as they call them, like the exhaust manifold, essentially, to the flange to where the exhaust pipe begins. And there's a little donut gasket that goes in there, and I've replaced a lot of them because once you develop a little bit of a leak, it burns out pretty fast, and then the gasket's bad. So I've got some new ones in there in the last, 2 years now since I moved here. They should still be good, but when I took it for the drive, it was obvious that it was leaking, and that's why I've got it on the lift now. And immediately, I am seeing a loose nut right there. That nut is supposed to be tight. Well, it sounds significantly better. Maybe not on camera, but it sounds way better. So I'm glad I put it in the air and noticed that those bolts were significantly loose. So got those tightened up. Sounds like it's tight. Went ahead and aired it down here in the shop because the storm is here. It came in real fast too. it is already way worse than it was just a second ago. All right, guys, so last night was the Fast Tech meet, and it was a bust for taking anything cool here in the shop since the rain just would not let up. By the time we got the Fast Tech, the rain did let up, but the roads were still soaked, and there was still some showers kind of passing through. So I did not get a chance to take the Corvair. This episode kind of took a left turn because the whole plan was to get a lot of content from the Fast Tech meet. Not everybody showed up because of the weather. So for now, since I had this on the lift and tightened up the exhaust, and since it isn't storming outside right now, we're going to take it for an afternoon coffee run. I'm hoping it'll get quieter once I do the mufflers, which will hopefully be in an upcoming episode sooner than later. That'll quiet the car down quite a bit, and that's where I want it. I don't want it too loud and obnoxious. It's a little loud and obnoxious now. I mean, if you like flat 6 air-cooled noises, this makes them. All right, guys, well, coffee run done in the Corvair. Way too hot to be out in this thing. It is literally a rolling tin can, toaster oven tin can. But again, like I said before, a long list of things to do on this car. Hopefully be doing that soon. The Porsche, hopefully gone soon, and we can get back on the Auto Union as well. So much to do, and just don't know what direction to go in. Half the reason why I've got this giant dry erase board here in the shop. As well as the same size one over in the corner for all my laser engraving commission jobs. I'll leave you guys with this, and I know this episode kind of went nowhere. We did get a chance to get the Corvair up in the air and tighten the exhaust up, which needed to be done. Dust collectors fixed and back working. Kind of a filler episode. Didn't go the way I wanted it to go. Well, that's it for this episode, guys. Thanks for watching. Excited for Kyron to show up tomorrow. We'll try to get an episode of this weekend of us hanging out, getting some rollers of some of the cars, and him just here shooting the shop for Autostrada magazine. Honored that that's even a thing, that they considered me for a feature in their magazine. Pretty cool, and humbled by it. So thank you guys so much for all the support and for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.